Oh, serious question, man. At what point did white women, look, I want to talk about this, and it's not being racially motivated, but it's just a serious question. It's an inquiry. At what point did white women change up and then concentrate on getting these big giant booties? That's the topic for today. That's the video that I want to upload today. When did that happen, man? When I was a kid in the 80s, white women were still in the gym. White women were always in the gym. They were in the gym in the 60s. White women were in the gym in the 70s. White women were in the gym in the 80s, in the 90s, in the double O's, and in the 10s, right? But when I was a kid in 1980, when white women were in the gym, they were doing aerobics, low impact exercises, man. They were doing like dance aerobics, really. You'd pick a pop song and you do like a little routine of jumping jacks and lifting and reaching, those type of things. And that was what they were doing the whole dang 80s, which was a carryover from what they were doing in the 70s, which was basically stretching. They were stretching in the 70s and doing low impact aerobics in the 80s. Now in the 90s, if you can remember that bald headed chick, remember her name? Her name was Susan something or other. Susan Powell, was that her name? And then she got into step aerobics. And then you remember Suzanne Summers? Suzanne Summers had that device called the Abdominizer, where it was like a clamp that you put between your legs and you squeezed it, right? And then at the end of the 90s, or in the middle of the 90s, around that time, Chuck Norris had his machine. It was the Chuck Norris machine. And then, it was basically like a Stairmaster or a rowing machine or something like that built into one. You remember that? That was in the 90s. So, white women were always about being fit, staying fit, keeping fit, all of that stuff. Then the 2000s come around and there was the Stairmaster and the treadmill. Like if I'm over in Manhattan, what would happen is, women, they would work in corporate America. I don't know what happened in your city, but I'm assuming it's the same. If you were in corporate America, these women would be working in these firms. Like back in corporate America, man. Listen. A woman would come in, she'd come in around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and, you guys are busy closing deals or, getting new clients or whatever they were doing, whatever company, if you're in fashion or you're in finance or you're in publishing or you're in media, these women would work long hours. So, from you show up at 9 a.m. maybe, you'd be there after 5. You'd probably be there till 9 p.m. every day. And so what they would do is they would go to the gym to release some tension, and they would spend 1 hour on the Stairmaster, which means they had a lot of sexual tension too because nobody was bopping them off, You're gonna go there and you're gonna get clitoral stimulation from walking on the Stairmaster or the treadmill for 1 whole hour. So they were developing some really nice physiques and burning calories and going home and get some Chinese takeout or Greek takeout or whatever, But somewhere in the 2010s is what I'm saying, something changed. So now we're in 2021, but somewhere around 2010, something changed. Because white women was always in the gym, right? They were always in the gym, and I remember having those Jane Fonda records and the Jane Fonda workout records, and then they'd come with a VHS video cassette. If you remember what those were, some VHS cassettes, It'd come with one LP, and then it would come maybe an audio cassette, and then a book of what you're supposed to be doing in the video. If you had that, and there was also what else was there? Oh, there was the Jack LaLanne records from the 70s. Jane Fonda was still doing that also. And then, but I'm telling you, somewhere around, so white women have always been in the gym, and they've always been pursuing physical fitness since the 60s. But like I said, somewhere between 2010 and now, white women have concentrated on getting giant derrieres. Now, I only say that because I go to this gym here, you know? I go to the gym to do my thing and get my part in. All right, my reason for going, man, because I started working out when I was 17. Me and my homie Caleb, you know, we were upstate in Albany, in high school. But the thing is, you know, recently, you know, I go to the doctor. I got this commercial driver's license. This guy's talking about you got high blood pressure, take these pills, and I'm like, I don't know about that, dog. So I'm taking the pills, sure, because high blood pressure is a silent killer. But the fact of the matter is, I also recognize that I was overweight. You know? My height is basically the same as it was since, you know, you were 19, right? So my weight has blossomed. My weight has bloomed up there. I mean, it went from when I was in college, my weight was like maybe 180, and that was like great weight. 178. I was with 178 for a long time, and then I went to like 187 for a while, and then I was at 193 to 199 to like 201, and after 200, things just got out of control. Time passed, and I was not looking at the scale. So last time I looked at the scale, it said 264 pounds, and I was like, no, this is not gonna work. So I got down to 240 something, 7, but I couldn't keep it, and I blew them back up. Then I got back down, and you know, for my last CDL, I was at 250, but when I weighed myself last month, it said 224. So my target is still to get below 200, but this video is not about me. It is about the white women and they big butts. White women have never been known for having big butts in this part of America where I live. If you in Pennsylvania and you in Kansas, maybe things were different, but in New York, no. So I'm in the gym, and you know, the women come in the gym, and all of the women got yoga pants on, and you know, you can't get offended if you wear yoga pants. You knew what the fuck you had on when you left the house. Those pants are grabbing your ass. Some of you got wedgies and shit, so, you know, you can't get upset about that, man. You knew what you put on when you left the house. If they're yoga pants or yoga shorts or Lululemons or all of that lycra skin tight stuff, you know, and you know what you bought, because most of them have an enhanced, you know, they enhance at your lower leg to push your butt up. So if you didn't have a butt, the idea was to make it look like you have a butt when you have those pants on. Now, clearly, you must be wearing those pants for men to look at you, because of all the pants that you could wear to the gym, you know, you could have just like Rocky Balboa in the movie Rocky, you know, which was Goldie Hawn in the movie Private Benjamin. You could have wore that raggedy gray sweatsuit that people have been wearing since the 30s, man. You know? You could have wore that sweatsuit that they've been wearing in all the movies about, you know, Jake LaMotta and all of those old black and white movies and all of that. And Three Stooges, you know, short films and Abbott and Costello movies. You could have worn that if you were just about going there and getting it in. If you were just interested in going to the gym, getting some physical exercise. But you didn't do that. What you did was put on booty-hugging lycra. You put on booty shorts. And think about this, man. In any other time in history, right? Not now, but before, let's say 1970. So let's go back 100 years. We'll go back 100 years, from 1921 to 1971. If any of these women came outside in those clothes, women of that era would think you were outside in your underwear. They literally would. Because isn't that what underwear looked like in 1920? You know, if you see a woman in yoga shorts or yoga pants, you can't tell me that didn't look like long underwear to women in the 1920s. But that's not my point. My point is, I admire the yoga pants, but don't get upset, because I was at the gym today, and then there was a young woman there, and she had on some tight yoga pants, and those things looked fantastic on her. You know? And she was doing these exercises, and then I turn around and I'm looking, I'm like, well, that's great. Now, I don't know if she saw me looking or not, because she pivoted, she rotated, instead of doing it with her butt facing me, she turned it so her butt was facing the mirror. I'm like, don't get upset with me at looking at your ass. You knew what you had on when you left the house with that. Alright? You put a sweater on over that, but you still knew that you had them fucking pants on when you left the house. You could have brought an extra pair of pants when you left the gym. So she left the gym in the same pair of pants. So when you get on the subway, or you get on a bus, or you in the supermarket walking around, you cannot get upset with men looking at your ass, because you knew that those pants will accentuate your ass when you put them on. That was the reason you bought them. The point of my video today, I would like to know, I should make this in parts, man. Because it's just, I'll make this in part. I'm gonna end this one right now and say, I'm gonna call this one, yoga pants are fantastic. Everybody should get a pair. Yoga pants, they're so fantastic. And then I'll make part 2, why, what is this impetus with white women and getting big butts now?